Last month we took a look at propositions 4, 5, 34, and 35 coming up on the November ballot. This month we'll be looking at 3 more of the propositions that will be appearing on the ballot, and I'll be sharing how the SLO Chamber Board recommends that our community vote on these propositions. There are 10 propositions on the ballot, oh joy, but the SLO Chamber reviewed the 7 we thought were most important. If you missed last month's review, you can find our full ballot guide on your table there or on our website. The first proposition for this month's review is Proposition 32. Prop 32 is a proposed state statute put forward by an individual to raise the minimum wage to $18 per hour. While our Chamber Board certainly understands that inflation and the general cost of living has made it difficult for workers to keep pace with expenses, a ballot initiative is not the correct way to work on wage issues. We are all feeling the pressures of increased costs due to the inflationary pressures that are finally starting to ameliorate. Passing of a minimum wage that would push the wage up an additional $1.50 more per hour than what is already planned for January 2025 will create a new burden on the consumers, potentially eliminate jobs, and do extreme damages to businesses already struggling to keep their business open. If the minimum wage is going to be adjusted further than is already planned for January 2025, it should be discussed in legislation and not a ballot initiative. And that is solely the thought by one individual. That is why the SLO Chamber Board recommends that we vote no on Proposition 32. The next proposition is Proposition 33. It's a proposed state statute that would repeal current state legislation known as Costa-Hawkins Rental Housing Act, which limits cities and counties from enacting new local rent control measures or mandating what a landlord can charge for rent. Once again, the SLO Chamber Board acknowledges that we are facing a housing affordability crisis, but repealing the current law and allowing individual jurisdictions to enact their own ordinances would lead to a patchwork of housing rules throughout the state that would have an immediate and damaging impact on all housing development, taking an already difficult housing market and driving us deeper into the crisis as new inventory stalls. One of the SLO Chamber's top priorities is dealing with the housing crisis, but we feel very strongly that the passage of Prop 33 is not the right way to tackle this problem. Working closely with our elected leaders on housing-friendly policies will move the needle faster and more directly to long-term housing sustainability. This citizen-initiated state statute would modify the previously passed California Proposition 47 that made a lot of changes to what was considered a felony and penalties for drug charges. Proposition 36 is really divided into 2 categories, creating greater penalties for retail theft and the criminal rings that have been attacking stores, and bringing harsher penalties for those who traffic in fentanyl, methamphetamine, cocaine, and heroin. The Chamber spent a lot of time advocating for state legislation to get at the criminal rings that have formed to perpetrate organized retail theft, something Proposition 36 addresses. The Chamber also recognizes the absolutely destructive force that fentanyl and methamphetamine are having on our society that Proposition 36 looks to address. A little over a month ago, the state legislature passed and the governor signed 10 new laws that almost verbatim address the retail theft issues that Proposition 36 was trying to address. We believe that issue has been addressed. That would leave the criminal drug portion as the only reason for Proposition 36. Since Proposition 36 looks to utilize mandatory minimum sentences for drug charges and some of the requirements related to treatment might or might not be available, the SLO Chamber decided not to take a position either way on this proposition. We would recommend that folks go to websites like Ballotpedia and look at the language and the arguments for and against to determine for themselves if Proposition 36 is a good fit for California. So that completes the 7 propositions the Chamber reviewed out of the full list of 10 that will be on the ballot. Again, if you want to find the whole list, you can either use the printed material at the table or hop over to slochamber.org and click on News to find the full 2024 voter guide. And as a final reminder, we do want to give you, our members, an opportunity to meet all the candidates running for SLO City Council. We'll be hosting a forum with all those candidates next Wednesday, October 2nd at 5 p.m. at the SLO County Library Community Room. Tickets are available on the SLO Chamber website and our legislative events, and that is your legislative update.